Distinguished guest, family, friends, and my fellow Americans. Today, we gather in this sacred moment to honor the extraordinary life of President Jimmy Carter. He was a man of deep faith, quiet courage, and unwavering dedication to the ideals of justice, peace, and compassion. He was a statesman, a humanitarian, and above all, a family man, a title he held closest to his heart. Jimmy Carter's story began in Plains, Georgia, a small town that shaped the course of his life and anchored his values. He often spoke of the influence of his parents. His father, Earl, a hardworking farmer and businessman who taught him the importance of perseverance and duty, and his mother, Miss Lillian, a nurse whose compassion and an open heart inspired him to see dignity in every person he met. Together, they gave Jimmy the foundation that would guide him through a life of service. It was in Plains that Jimmy met Rosalind Smith, a young woman whose brilliance and strength matched his own. They were married in 1946, beginning a partnership that would span more than 7 decades. Rosalind was not only his wife, but his confidant, his most trusted advisor, and his greatest source of strength. Their love was profound, unwavering, and a model of what it means to be truly united in purpose and in heart. Together, they raised 4 children: Jack, James, Daniel, and Amy, and created a family life rooted in faith, love, and mutual respect. Jimmy and Rosalind instilled in their children the values that define their own lives: humility, compassion, and a sense of responsibility to make the world a better place. Despite the demands of public service, Jimmy never wavered in his devotion to his family. To him, being a father and a grandfather was not just a role, it was his most cherished calling. As a father, Jimmy was deeply present. He encouraged his children to follow their own paths, always reminding them that their success would not be measured by wealth or titles, but by the good they did in the lives of others. He taught them that service begins at home and that love, kindness, and faith could guide them through any challenge. Jimmy adored his grandchildren and great grandchildren, who brought him endless joy in his latter years. Whether he was fishing with them in the countryside of Georgia, sharing stories of his childhood, or teaching them the importance of giving back, Jimmy's greatest happiness was found in these simple, quiet moments surrounded by his family. He was their teacher, their mentor, and their greatest champion. But Jimmy's love for his family extended far beyond the boundaries of Plains. He saw the world as one extended family, believing that every person, regardless of race, religion, or nationality, deserved dignity, justice, and opportunity. This belief carried him throughout his presidency, where he worked tirelessly to bridge divides, fight for peace, and defend the rights of the most vulnerable. Yet, even as the leader of the free world, Jimmy Carter remained the same humble man who cherished his roots and found solace in the embrace of his family. He often spoke of how Rosalind and their children were his source of strength. During the most difficult moments of his presidency, he credited Rosalind as his equal partner, saying, quote, "She was there for every major decision I made. I could have not done it without her." And President Carter, I truly believe in that as well. After leaving the White House, Jimmy and Rosalind devoted their lives to service, founding the Carter Center and working tirelessly to advance human rights, combat disease, and alleviate suffering. But even in these endeavors, family remained central. They worked side by side, showing the world what a lifetime of shared purpose and love could achieve. Just over a year ago, we bid farewell to Rosalind, a First Lady who was a force for good in her own right. Her passing was deeply felt by all who knew her, but most profoundly by Jimmy, who carried her memory with him every day. Today, as we celebrate Jimmy's life, we take solace in knowing that he and Rosalind are now reunited, walking hand in hand, their earthly journey complete, but their love is eternal. The Carter family's impact on our nation is immeasurable. Their example reminds us that public service is most meaningful when rooted in humility, that leadership is strongest when built on love, and that a life well lived is one dedicated to others. The legacy of Jimmy and Rosalind Carter is not only one of political achievement, but of the values they passed down through their children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren. A legacy that will endure for generations to come. Today, as we remember President Carter, let us honor not just the leader, the humanitarian, and the statesman, but the husband, father, and grandfather whose love for his family was his greatest pride and his deepest joy. Let us strive to live by the example he set, to carry forward the values he held dear, and to honor his belief that every person can make a difference. Jimmy Carter taught us that service begins with those closest to us, that love is the most powerful force in the world, and that peace is always worth pursuing. His life was a testament to the power of faith, family, and compassion. May God bless you, President Carter. May you rest in eternal peace alongside Rosalind, and may God bless the family. I know you're grieving, but I want you to know that your father, grandfather, and family member was deeply loved by this country and was a valued treasure. And we are praying for all of you. May God bless you. May God protect our troops, and may God bless the United States of America.